We've lost touch with what immortality really meant to the ancients, especially to the ancient Egyptians. For them, it wasn't about living forever in a body or about uploading your consciousness to some cloud, but it was about becoming something else entirely, a luminous, radiant being, a soul that shines so brightly that it joins the stars, literally. They believed you could become a star among the gods, not just remembered, but actually transfigured. And if you've ever wondered whether any of this still holds power today, it does. I know this personally because somebody that I know, someone who walked a path very close to mine, experienced it firsthand. He was a friend and a fellow initiate, and we were both students of the same teacher, the one who initially introduced me into the mysteries. And years ago, maybe 9 years ago, he performed a ritual to the Egyptian goddess Nut. He prepared for this ritual for days. He fasted, he focused, he cleared his space, and he did all the necessary work on the inner planes. For those of you who are not familiar with the inner planes, this refers to the unseen layers of reality. These are realms that exist not out there in space, but in ourselves, beneath the surface of ordinary awareness. They are where dreams happen, where visions come from, and where energy moves before it takes physical form. Some people call it the spirit world, and others might call it the subconscious. But really, it's a whole spectrum of reality that your physical senses can't always pick up, yet your soul moves through all of it all of the time. It is where ritual has power and where gods are felt, where your thoughts ripple outward like waves. We live in the outer world, in the material plane, but the inner planes, well, those are where everything starts. So this friend of mine cast a circle and he placed a very special candle at the center. He invoked the goddess Nut and waited. And according to him, the air suddenly changed visibly in the room. It literally shimmered like something unseen was folding inward into this reality. And suddenly a hand appeared out of nowhere and it literally reached into the circle and it took the candle. So the candle was gone, and I know what many of you might be thinking, that maybe he imagined it and maybe it was symbolic. But I've seen this before in my own work with deity, with Shiva and with planetary forces like Venus and Mars and many more. With deities, you still listen and sometimes take what is given to them as a sacred offering. It's been 10 years and the candle hasn't returned, so yes, the ancient systems of energy and what we call magic today still exists. To those people who are willing to look beyond the surface layers of reality and go on a deep soul search for the real truth. To the Egyptians, the soul wasn't a single thing. It wasn't just some vague spiritual idea floating above the body, but it was a network of living forces, each one with its own purpose, its own power, and then also its own destiny. And unless these layers were all fully aligned, you couldn't become the Ankh, the luminous one. There are six primary parts to the soul: the Khat, or the physical body, that is the sacred vessel; the Ka, your energetic life force; the Ba, your personality, this is also your soul that travels between realms; the Ren, your true name and your frequency; the Sheut, your shadow self; and then finally the Ak, your fully transfigured, radiant soul. So I'll walk you through each of these layers one by one. And if you're already familiar with some of the language, I go even deeper into these teachings in some of my earlier videos, like the sacred orbit, sexual energy, light body, and the breath of the gods. and also Tantra, sacred union, and alchemy, the hidden current of immortality. I've also created a dedicated Egyptian mysteries playlist, which will continue to evolve as we peel back more layers, not just for understanding, but for actual soul alignment in this life. So let's begin with the Khat. The Khat is your physical body, and while a lot of modern spiritual teachings treat the body like something to escape from, the Egyptians saw it as something that is really sacred and literally a living temple. This is also the first layer of your soul and the one that holds the rest of the layers in place. That's why they took such care in preserving the body after death. It wasn't just superstition or ritual for its own sake, but they understood that the physical form is energetically linked to the other parts of the soul and thus acts as a foundation anchoring the other parts of the soul. Now, of course, we don't need mummification today, but the principle of it still stands. Your body, your Khat, is a sacred vessel that records everything. It records what you eat, it records what you consume in life, and also what you believe. The energy patterns that you carry from your environment, also your relationships, even your ancestors, they all settle into your physical body. Now, unhealthy habits like addiction, processed food, emotional suppression, chaotic energy, and toxic people, all of that affects your Khat. It literally dims your inner light and it also blocks your energetic flow. It creates static in the energetic field that connects your body to your car and your bar and every other part of you, meaning your soul. And most people carry all of this without even realizing it. This is what makes the body become dense and heavy over time, not just with physical weight, but also with frequency. The Egyptians knew that to become luminous, you couldn't ignore the physical body at all, but you had to consecrate it. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to make it perfect, but it does mean that you need to make it clean, energetically, emotionally, and spiritually alike. Things like movement, breath, stillness, and nourishment aren't just health tips, but soul technologies. Because your card is how your soul holds shape in this world. It's how you experience pleasure, pain, and initiation. It's how energy moves through you. And without an attuned cut, the rest of the soul system struggles to stay coherent. So it begins here in the body that you are in now in this lifetime. The Ka is your vital life force. It is your energetic double and the part of you that animates the body and carries your spiritual imprint through this lifetime and also beyond. You could think of your Ka as similar to prana or chi, but the Egyptians understood it as something much more personal. Your car is you, but it is you in energy form. It is what gives your body presence, magnetism, warmth, and life. And when your car is strong, people will feel it. The Egyptians believed that the car had to be nourished, not just with food, but also with intention, beauty, prayer, ritual, and connection to the divine. After death, the car doesn't vanish, but it remains near your body. It still holds hunger, memory, and awareness. So that's why offerings were made by the Egyptians, not to satisfy superstition, but to keep the car strong, coherent, and whole. In life, when your car is weak, you'll feel it as depletion and also as a lack of energy. You'll feel scattered, disconnected, and foggy. You'll move through the day in a kind of autopilot, never being truly present in your life. This is more common than most people realize, and a weakened car leads to energetic dullness. The body is alive, but the field is dim. You lose your natural flow and clarity and also your sense of alignment. But when your car is strong, when you care for it, then you'll feel grounded. You'll begin to glow from within and return to yourself. The car responds to reverence. It is strengthened by sacred rhythm, by movement, by clean food, breath work, sexual discipline, which does not mean abstinence, and also sound. Everything that you take in becomes a form of nourishment or a form of erosion. Your car is shaped not just by what you do in ritual, but also by how you live. So when you give your energy to things that drain you, constant stimulation, surface level entertainment, unhealthy sexual patterns, aimless scrolling, and empty conversations, then you scatter your car. When you obsess over things that don't matter, then you dilute your field, and over time, your light becomes thin. But when you consciously start to reclaim your energy, when you practice stillness, awareness, and protect your focus, you begin to pull your car back to the center. You start holding yourself the way that the ancients did, not just as a personality, but as a field of power. To tend to your car is to tend to the core of your whole energy body. And the stronger your car becomes, the easier it is for other parts of your soul to come into harmony. The Egyptians knew that without a strong car, spiritual work had no anchor whatsoever. You have to be present here and fully alive before you can become luminous. The Ba is the part of your soul that carries your personality and also your individuality. The Egyptians often depicted this as a human headed bird because it has the ability to fly. That means to travel between the realms. The Ba is the part of you that moves. It doesn't stay fixed inside of your physical body because it travels through both the inner and also the outer planes. It can move through dreams, through visions, and also through altered states of consciousness. But it can then also appear outside of you. So, a quick side note here, would you like content on altered states of consciousness and the deep wisdom that you'll find in these states? Your bar can appear in other people's dreams. So, if any of you have ever wondered why you'd dream detailed dreams of people that you've never met before, well, here is one possible explanation. Your bar also appears in moments where something beyond your control needs to be felt. The bar is your soul's bridge between the seen and the unseen, and it moves between this world and the next world, between the physical and the spiritual. It can actually leave your body, carry messages, and return with insight. This is what allows you to have visions. It's what carries your memory across lifetimes. It's what visits loved ones in their dreams after you've passed on. Your Ba is deeply personal, but also deeply connected to the invisible forces that move through reality. In Egyptian teachings, the Ba wasn't passive. It didn't sleep inside you waiting for death. It was alive during life and it could be trained through altered states of consciousness, ritual, dream work, trance, and devotion. The Ba could be strengthened and then sent out with intention. When the Ba is strong, your dreams become clearer, your intuitive knowing deepens, and you begin to feel a connection with something that is beyond the seen through direct and lived experience. But when your Ba is blocked, then you lose that connection and you feel completely cut off. Your inner world becomes a shallow world, and your dreams may stop altogether or become distorted. You might feel spiritually dry, like nothing is reaching you. Your bar, just like your car, is affected by how you live, the quality of your attention. Remember, attention is at attention. Hence, anything you apply your focus to creates tension. You just need to choose wisely what type of tension you want to cultivate to apply your focus to. When you lie to yourself, then your bar retreats. When you live a life that is not attuned to your true will, then your bar retreats too. When you numb out, avoid reflection, or deny what your soul is trying to tell you, then the bar becomes tangled. It can't move freely between the realms. And when that happens, you start to feel stuck, not just emotionally, but also energetically. On the other hand, when you spend time alone, when you dream consciously, and when you access altered states of consciousness, when you write, when you reflect and pray, you stay connected to your inner world and your bar strengthens. You begin to receive impressions, flashes of knowing, and subtle messages from beyond. And these aren't random at all, but they are guidance, messages that the Ba brings back with it. The Ba is the part of the soul that allowed ancient initiates to commune with the gods and to travel into the underworld and return changed. The Ren is your true name. Now, I'm not talking about the name that you were given at birth, although that name can carry power too. But your Ren is something that is much deeper. It is your own personal vibrational signature, unique to you. It is the frequency of your existence and the pattern that holds your soul's identity across time and space. The Egyptians believed that everything in existence had a name, not just a name as a label, but as a living code. To know the name of a person, spirit, or god was to access its energy. To speak it with intention was then to activate it. And to erase someone's name, that was one of the greatest spiritual deaths that you could suffer. Because when your name is forgotten, your energy loses its anchor and it simply dissolves. The Ren is what allows the soul to be recognized, not just by others, but also by the divine. It's what makes you traceable across lifetimes. It's also what allows your Ba and Ka to find each other again. It's how your Ankh, the luminous form, is able to be remembered, invoked, and honored. The Ren lives in vibration. It also lives in sound, words, breath, rhythm, and resonance. And so, yes, the words that you speak do matter, the names you call yourself matter, and the way that you affirm or deny your essence in everyday life matters more than most people will ever realize. Your Ren is shaped by how you show up, by the ways that you speak, how you carry yourself, what you claim and what you reject. When you dishonor your truth, when you shrink yourself, when you silence yourself, or when you wear names that don't belong to you, then you weaken your Ren. But when you speak in alignment with your soul, when your word becomes your bond, then your Ren begins to rise. This teaching is echoed in so many different traditions as well. Some occultists, especially those working with numerology or Kabbalistic systems, believe that your given name at birth can sometimes be out of resonance with your actual date of birth. From a vibrational perspective, your name and your birth date both carry their own frequency. And when these two are out of alignment, then every time someone speaks your name, it creates a subtle form of energetic dissonance. You may not even notice it right away, but over time, it can pull you out of your natural soul alignment. Names should act as vibrational keys, not just words, but tools that lock or unlock your soul's potential. If your name doesn't match your energetic path, then it distorts your energetic current. That is why in ritual work, initiates often give themselves new names. Now, these aren't randomly chosen, but they are calculated with precision. In numerology, it's said that your spiritual name should add up to the same number as your birth path, so that when spoken, the frequency of your name and then the frequency of your life path are in harmony with one another. This is a deeper system, and we won't go into all of the technical stuff here. But if you'd like more information on this, or perhaps a dedicated video on how to calculate it, then let me know in the comments, because it's really a fascinating topic and teaching, and more powerful than most people realize. Names are never just identification, they are invocations, and to remember your true name is to remember that you were never just this life, this person, this body, or this personality. You are a vibration that has always existed. And when you speak this vibration with clarity, then it becomes true power. Your Sheut is your shadow. This is the part of you that is hidden, not because it is evil, but because it is often unacknowledged. The Egyptians believed that your shadow was just as real as your physical body, and wherever you went, it followed you. And not just in the physical sense alone, but also energetically, spiritually, and psychologically speaking, your Sheut moves with you. It holds the part of yourself that you simply don't want to see or acknowledge. The aspects and archetypes that you repress and the emotions that you suppress, the memories you avoid and the impulses that you pretend are not there. It also holds your unclaimed power, your potential, your instincts, and your raw life force. Everything that was exiled so that you could stay acceptable or safe or in control in this modern world. Carl Jung called this the shadow. This is the unconscious part of the psyche that contains everything that the ego refuses to identify with. He said that one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. And this is exactly what the Sheut is about. When you refuse to look at your shadow, it doesn't just disappear, but it simply acts out from underneath. It becomes your projection. You see in others what you have not yet faced in yourself, and you also attract the same patterns over and over again until you begin to ask the deeper questions. The Sheut, left unacknowledged, becomes a disruptive force in your life because it fuels inner conflict and it sabotages your relationships. It actually drains your car and it confuses your bar and it also creates dissonance in your REM. The Egyptians didn't see the Sheut as something to banish at all because they understood that the shadow was just a gate. And Jung echoed this. He believed that by confronting the shadow and by integrating it consciously, you gain psychic wholeness. You become individuated, no longer split between what is seen and between what is unseen. And this work is not easy at all. It's also not always comfortable. Because the Sheut contains not only fear, shame, and resentment, but also suppressed grief, abandoned desires, and sometimes the deepest aspects and parts of your soul. But when you begin to sit with your Sheut, when you stop running from it and instead invite it into your life, then something begins to shift. Your reactions become more spacious and your triggers lose their grip. You start to see what your patterns are for what they are, unconscious echoes now rising up for integration. Shadow work is not about fixing yourself. It's about reclaiming what's been forgotten because hidden inside of your Sheut is the part of you that is most real, the part of you that was buried in order to survive. And once it is seen, it becomes your strength and it becomes your power. In Jungian psychology, this integration process is called alchemy, transforming the raw and chaotic material of the psyche into something that is refined. And the Egyptians understood this long before Jung ever existed. To them, the Sheut wasn't a flaw, but it was the starting point of your transformation. And the more of yourself that you are willing to meet in the dark, the more radiant you will become in the light. The Ankh is the radiant soul. It is the final layer of the Egyptian soul system, not because it comes last chronologically, but because it represents the completion of your inner transformation. The Ankh is what you become when all the other parts of your soul are integrated and aligned with one another. That means when your Khat, your physical body, is honored as a sacred vessel, and when your Ka, the life force, is nourished and circulating, when your Ba, the soul self, is moving freely between realms, and when your Ren, your true name, is remembered, and when your Sheut, your shadow, is seen and reclaimed, only then can the Ankh emerge. The Ankh is the luminous one, the soul that is transfigured by experience, by clarity, and also by inner truth. In ancient Egyptian texts, the Ankh was described as shining, effective, and capable of moving across realms with purpose and intention. It was not just light, but conscious light. Light that has passed through the depths of the human experience and come out whole on the other side. To become the Ankh is to become more than just merely human. It is to become a force that is somebody who blesses, who protects, who guides, and who intervenes even after physical death. But this is not an automatic process at all that just happens when you die. This is a result of an intentional life, a life lived in alignment, in ritual self honesty, and relationship with the divine. The Egyptians had a symbol for this process, and it was the Ankh, the looped cross that is often seen in the hands of gods and initiates. The Ankh wasn't just a symbol of life, but a tool of activation. It represented the union of opposites, masculine and feminine, heaven and earth, soul and body. And it was used in temple practices to direct energy, bless the ka, awaken the light body, and initiate the Ankh. In many depictions, gods are shown placing the Ankh at the mouth or the third eye of the initiate, breathing life, light, and consciousness into them. I talk more about the energetic use of the Ankh in my video, The Sacred Orbit, Sexual Energy, Light Body, and the Breath of the Gods. And again in Tantra, Sacred Union and Alchemy, The Hidden Current of Immortality. In both of these videos, I explore how sexual energy, breath, and ritual can be used to circulate life force, purify the soul layers, and gradually activate what the Egyptians called the Ankh. Because this isn't just a spiritual idea, but an energetic process. It's about how you live, breathe, speak, and think. How you face what is hidden inside of you, and how you return to what is true. Becoming the Ankh is not about transcending this world, but it is about shining from within this world. It means that you no longer scatter your energy, you no longer chase after illusion and falsehood, you no longer abandon yourself. You become whole, you become luminous. And just like the stars that the Egyptians believed were once human souls, you become visible from both sides of the veil. This is the goal of the mysteries, radiance earned from the inside out. So there you have it. These are the 6 layers of the soul according to the ancient Egyptian system. If you'd like deeper information on this or on other hidden and often misunderstood Egyptian teachings, then please let me know in the comments below. The Egyptian system is incredibly vast. There are simply so many different layers to it, so many different teachings, and so much symbolism that people often misinterpret or oversimplify this completely. Sometimes I don't even know where to start just because there's so much out there. But if this resonates with you, and if you want more information on this, then I am happy to keep on exploring this together. You can also join me on Patreon for extended content. The link to my Patreon and the videos mentioned here will be in the description below. If this video was meaningful to you, then please remember to like it and to subscribe and to share it with somebody who might need it. Thank you so much for watching.